my charmed ones, and welcome back to my channel for another video. Today, I want to talk to you about 10 ways I use my iPad Pro. Did you know the day this video is going live is actually a year since I posted my first video on my iPad Pro, where I unboxed it and told you all my plans for it. So I thought it would be valuable to give you an update on how I've actually been using it over the last year. My hope is that if you have an iPad, this video will give you some more insights and ideas on how to use it to help keep you organized and get more done. Or if you have been thinking about getting an iPad, perhaps this update video will give you some realistic expectations to help you determine if owning one would bring value into your life. And if you stay until the end of the video, I'm also going to share a few things I do not use my iPad for, in case that's also helpful. Those will be things that you might think I would do with my iPad, but I choose not to use the iPad for. Sound good? Let's jump in. These are the 10 ways I've been using my iPad, and instead of talking about individual tasks, I've broken this video down into 10 categories of tasks that I use it for. So really, this video is much more than 10 things. And I have listed the items from the most frequently used items of my iPad to less frequent use as best I can, so you can get an idea of how I actually use my iPad on a day-to-day basis. So category number 1 is that I use my iPad Pro as a social media content manager, meaning I organize my clips and posts for Instagram and YouTube Shorts on the device, and I will often use my iPad to post and interact on social media. One reason for this is that my iPhone is old and doesn't have a lot of space, so it makes sense for me to use the iPad to store all of this content. But I also like the size of the screen. It makes it easier for me to edit videos through the Instagram app, and I can easily connect my Bluetooth keyboard to make typing easier and quicker. The second way I use my iPad Pro is as a personal assistant. This is another one of those catch-all categories to mean that I use my iPad in a variety of ways to assist me in my work and life. So, for example, if I need to look up information or answer a question, I will usually pull it up on ChatGPT from my iPad. I will use my iPad as a second screen during meetings or calls when I'm streaming from my laptop, so I have my notes in front of me while I teach. I also tend to connect and coach with clients in my mastermind from the Slack app on my iPad. I often use my iPad timer and alarm function when I need to watch the time or remember an event or appointment. The third way I use my iPad Pro is for digital planning. I use the app GoodNotes to plan in my digital master planner and my digital CEO strategy planner. I'll make sure you guys have links to those down below if you have an iPad and you want to start digital planning using my tools. Plus, I make a ton of different workbooks and tools for the members of my mastermind, and I keep them organized in GoodNotes as well for reference. So far, I can say I enjoy digital planning. It is much more convenient, I think, to use my iPad for planning purposes because I can copy and paste and move around items in the digital note paper a way you can't really do on physical paper. I still miss paper, and I will take extraneous notes in a paper notebook from time to time for the nostalgia vibes, but I try to keep everything related to my planning, time, and task management in my digital planner. The fourth way I use my iPad Pro is for mindset work and self-coaching. As someone who is into personal development, self-mastery, and bettering myself through inner work, I do a lot of that work from my iPad now. A lot of this inner work I do on a regular basis are practices or tools that I've designed and shared inside my Charmed Life Mastermind. So I will often use a workbook from the Mastermind in GoodNotes to journal or complete daily mindset work. I will use guided meditations from our resource library to set the tone and intention for my day. And I will act as my own coach throughout the day when I get stuck by shifting my mindset using different reference materials I've created that walk me through step-by-step processes for that. So my iPad works as a hub for my development work and is like my portable little guru. The fifth way I use my iPad Pro is for ideation. Anything from brainstorming, research, and even sketching out new designs for inserts. I use the iPad to generate ideas, and since I run a content-based business, I do a lot of that. Last year, when I first shared about my iPad, I was using the Freeform app for some of this ideation, but I've since switched to using my Master Planner more for this and the Apple Notes app. Something you should know about me is that I tend to like to keep it simple with apps and such. I know there are a lot of wonderful apps out there, some of which I am sure are more ideal than the simple apps that come with the device, but I find that if I need to use more apps for specialized functions, I'm actually less likely to use them. So I stick to the basics and I use what I already have and know because it's routine for me at this point. The sixth way I use my iPad Pro is for reading. Ladies, I'm officially in my reading girl era. Since I purchased the iPad, I've been reading so much more. I also ended up subscribing to Kindle Unlimited, and I've read over 30 books so far this year, which I intend to make a whole video about how I started reading more. But the iPad has opened the door to this new habit for me because it's wonderful to read on the iPad. I don't have a Kindle. Again, similar to the way that I don't like to have tons of apps to do different functions, I also don't need a Kindle if I have an iPad. Some may disagree with me, but I love the experience of reading on the iPad. I do have a few ebook apps on my iPad. I use Audible sometimes. I have Apple Books because I bought some books on that app years ago. And I also have an app called Blinkist that I'm subscribed to for nonfiction books, but I might end up canceling that subscription. But I mostly use the Kindle app to read and even allow the app to read a book to me, which is such a novelty and slightly different than just listening to the audiobook because you can read and listen at the same time. I love it. The seventh way I use my iPad Pro is for news and entertainment. So I have all the TV and movie apps pretty much. Netflix, Amazon Prime, Tubi, Apple TV, plus of course like YouTube and Twitch. So I have tons of video content. And I know this is a quirk of mine, but I tend to prefer to watch shows on my iPad, even though I have several large TVs in my home that are connected to all of these apps as well. I just love having the screen in my hands. I know, I'm weird. In addition to the video apps, I'm also subscribed to the New York Times app and some magazines, Vogue and Vanity Fair, for their digital subscriptions. I also use the iPad for music with Spotify, podcasts through Apple Podcasts usually, but sometimes Spotify as well. And I use my iPad to play some games. I love the New York Times puzzle games that I can do daily, like the crossword and Wordle, and my favorite is Spelling Bee. But I also have some one-off games like Monument Valley. That's one of my favorites. And I recently downloaded an app called Paintly, which is a paint by numbers app that is very simple, but also very relaxing. And the free version is pretty light on ads so far, which I appreciate. The eighth way I use my iPad Pro is for photography and videography. I use it to take pictures and videos and to edit pictures very lightly using some of my favorite editing apps like Afterlight, Facetune, PicFrame, and PicPlayPost. I have Photoshop for iPad, but I don't like it, so I won't recommend it. There are definitely easier apps out there. The ninth way I use my iPad Pro is as a personal trainer. Okay, so I don't have any of those apps that give you access to a personal trainer per se. I know they're out there, but I have playlists of workout videos that I like from YouTube. I have a workout course that I purchased from a trainer that I access on the iPad because it's a larger screen and portable, which makes it ideal for using it in your home gym. And I use the iPad as a display on my workout bike. Sometimes I watch videos, sometimes I watch a scenic bike ride. The iPad itself isn't a workout tool or piece of equipment, but it's a device that I always work out with. Finally, the 10th way I use my iPad Pro is as my personal chef. Okay. So it doesn't cook for me, but I use it to watch recipe videos while I'm cooking because the portability and size is perfect for the kitchen. And since I keep it in a case, I'm not worried about it getting splattered on by water or sauce. With the split screen function, I can have a video tutorial playing on one side of the screen with the exact written recipe on the other for me to follow along. So it's not actually a chef, but it makes me a better home chef when I use it, which is anytime I don't know a recipe by heart, and sometimes even when I do. I still like to have a video playing while I cook or even listen to a book on tape or some mindset work recording to keep me from being impatient while cooking. We all know how boring it is to watch and wait for water to boil. So those are the 10 ways I use my iPad Pro a year after buying it. I definitely feel like I got my money's worth from the device and that it fits nicely into the areas of my life where it's not convenient to carry around my laptop, but my iPhone is also too small to be as functional as I would like. Now, as promised, I want to share with you the things I do not use my iPad for that you might expect. And you are going to see a theme with this list, which is that some things are just easier to do on the computer. Yes, there's a learning curve to starting with the iPad, but once you get used to it, many things are nicer using an iPad, but not everything. And this is my list of things I can't get myself to do on my iPad. Number 1 is longer form video editing. It's much easier to edit on my laptop with Final Cut Pro, and I'm not going to sacrifice efficiency just to get more uses out of the iPad. I do edit Instagram Reels on my iPad because the Instagram app is very intuitive and easy to use, but I wouldn't edit a horizontal video. I tried the popular app LumaFusion in addition to Apple's iMovie, but it's still harder to use than Final Cut and not as full-featured, so it's a pass for me. Number 2 is art and design work. I'm not an artist or an illustrator in any sense of the word. Any design work I do for my planners is done on my laptop in Adobe InDesign. I'll sketch out an insert on my iPad, but I need to use my professional apps for my professional work. Number 3 is blogging and web development. I might write a blog post in the Notes app, but I don't use the iPad to access the back end of my blog or any of my sites to post because the mobile operating system doesn't play very nicely with my blogging software. I can do it technically, but it's so much easier from my laptop that I wouldn't bother unless it was super urgent. And number 4 is email marketing. Again, I can write emails in my Notes app, but I don't set up emails to send or build funnels via my iPad. My email marketing app just doesn't have the features or UI to make it a seamless experience. And that's really the issue with all of these things that I don't do on the iPad. The software just isn't there yet. It might be in the future, but for now, some things are easier to do on my computer with the full power of desktop software. So that is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you would like me to do a part 2 to this follow-up and share the accessories that I'm using with my iPad now because I have purchased many more in the last year that I haven't shared yet. So let me know if you would be interested in that video. If you use an iPad, share with me in the comments the things you use it for the most. I'd love to know if you use it for tasks that are different than what I use it for, and I'm sure the community would love the extra details. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found it helpful or enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like and feel free to share it with anyone you think would find it helpful. For more of the behind the scenes of my productivity life and business, make sure you're following me on Instagram at MissTrenchcoat. I've been posting there 6 days a week on my Instagram feed, so you definitely want to check that out. And if you are not yet subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button for more productivity videos by me. And until next time, bye-bye.